Hello, friends. How are you today? I hope you're doing well. I am back once again to do a little video on some of the messy details of the soap opera version of my memoir, Dark World Light Work. If you haven't been following along, you know that there are a lot of elements to my life story and to this memoir that are quite salacious and quite seedy. And I do my best to try and take the high road. And I don't like to get messy. I don't like to be petty. And I don't like to just start drama for no good reason. However, every once in a while, there is some details that may be considered messy or salacious that I feel like are necessary. So I will add them to the story. If you read the book, all the dirty details are there. But on this platform, I just try to keep it as light as possible to get you to buy the book. And then you can see just how dark things get. However, this next story is necessary to tell because it really does set a precedent for some of the behavior that I have been subjected to. I've been talking about recently how my grandmother's daughter essentially abducted her from her home because she had Alzheimer's. She wasn't really able to fight back on this matter. And she assumed her identity and then took her to a different state and liquidated all of her assets as her, while at the same time having her declared mentally incompetent so she could be her handler or whatever that is. I believe there's two reasons why she did this. One of them was greed and the other one was jealousy. And I'm sure of this because this is not the first time that this woman has done something in a similar manner. When she met her husband had a daughter from a previous marriage and she had two children from a previous marriage. Within a year or so, she decided that she did not want for her husband to see his daughter anymore. So she proceeded to cause both civil and legal problems for his wife. And she took the wife and the daughter to court to try and get the child support taken down to nothing. What she succeeded at doing is creating such a fissure in the relationship between her husband and his daughter that they did not talk to each other anymore. And he hasn't seen his daughter in decades. After she was able to successfully separate them, it convinced him to adopt her two daughters from a previous marriage, which he did gladly, even though he had no access to his first daughter. He did this. And when his mother passed away, she contested the will, claiming that the daughter that he abandoned did not deserve any portion of the money, but her two children did by default because he had adopted them a few years prior. And she contested the will and had them stuck in probate for years, thus ruining the relationship between her husband and his family. And she lost because what she was claiming was absolutely ridiculous, but there was enough to get them caught up for years. And even though she lost, it did not stop her from doing the same thing again when the man's father died. So this is just the kind of person that I've been dealing with. And partially, I blame myself for not recognizing that kind of evil in her. I mean, my grandmother told me I watched her do it to people 3 times, and I sat back in awe and in shock and disgust, and I really missed it when she did it to me. And I think partially it was because my grandmother knew she was gunning for her things, but she didn't want to tell me because she did not want to make her daughter look bad. So instead, she just was trying to push me to have all the control. She wanted me to have the house in my name. She wanted me to be the power of attorney. She wanted me to make all the decisions for her medical and for her bank. Like, she gave me all of the information to her bank. And instead of telling me why, she just kept urging me to do it. And I kind of did what I felt comfortable doing, and then I didn't do the rest. And that is why we are here. But there's a lot of elements, and I think that in order for me to successfully tell the story, I do have to get a little bit messy sometimes. And that's just to set a precedent about the woman's behavior over the course of many, many decades. All right, and I'll be back with more.